Okay, welcome back. For everyone just tuning in for the first time, maybe you came from one of the FFA streams earlier. This is the tiebreaker match of the Division 2 CTL Grand Finals between Ascension and Manganese.
Yes, welcome back everyone. Back into going into match 3. You know, we had a strong showing from AC in match 1, and MN really stuck it to him match 2, really showing the fight and the perseverance to really edge them over AC for match 2. Going into match 3, it's going to be a real tale of how everything plays.
Yeah, so AC won match 1 by about 60, and MN barely squeaked out match 2 by about, I think, 12 points was the final result. And also, in this best of 3, there are no repicks between the matches, so every track that was played in the first 2 wars is now off limits. So they're going to have to pick new tracks that we don't see too often in CT matches, especially between these two teams. So Volcanic Valley is the first race. AC is hosting this match since they were the higher seed going into this, coming out of the season. So here we go.
Definitely, Volcanic Valley. This is an interesting one. I actually don't even remember this track personally. So this is completely what looks to be new to me. I don't see this track played too often, to be honest.
This is a track that some teams picked it a lot when it came out. Again, a couple of years ago, I think SOP picked this a lot. It's all about just driving in first, taking the rail shortcuts, and holding your spot for as long as you can. There are definitely some good backspin spots, like we see Nota doing a really good job avoiding that green up on this rail. And there's just a bunch of little strats that you can take shroomless, and already a big mistake from Nota coming out, falling off in third, and Ivan has been in first pretty much since the first straightaway, I think, and he seems to be driving very well, as he did do for the entirety of the last match. So if he can keep this up for the rest of the war, then MN will be looking pretty good, because holding first is so important on a lot of these tracks. And what we've seen so far is that the teams that are able to consistently not have their top spots get taken over are the teams that are doing really well in these races. It's really important for them to not lose their spots.
Definitely, and it looks like Ivan's really comfortable driving this track. He's driving it really well, taking all the much needed strats really cleanly. And I mean, if this keeps up without the use of a few shots, but he's gonna fail the power dodge and also get redded on top of that.
Interesting call on the. I assume that was AC's POW trying to target POW Ivan a little bit on the spiral, but since he failed that, he was just kind of a sitting duck for that red. So Stubbs taking over first place. It doesn't look like MN have the blue like they were holding it, or maybe they lost it to that POW. But so maybe Stubbs will have a chance to run the rest of this race now.
Definitely, and it's like one of those things you never expect to see someone just fail a power dodge like that and just drop first so easily. So.
And it seemed like Ivan was doing such a good job so far this race, and then that's just a weird mistake that you wouldn't usually expect to see. There are some good spots for target shocks here at the end, but we still have yet to see a shot come out.
Definitely, and Ivan and Swampy still like staying in 2-3 right now, so they are being a little bit safe. They still have decent spots, so giving up first isn't the worst thing in the world. But
yeah, let's see. On Nota's POV, he's going to be shrooming up on this last turn, trying to make up whatever ground he can. It looks like a 1-4 for AC. They didn't get too much off of it. No shock that race. It's interesting because I don't think the baggers were too close together, but I think there's a strat on that track, if I recall correctly, that puts both of the baggers in 9th place if you do it right. So I think that could be why there was no shock, and it really just came down to that one little play with the target POW and the POW red from AC.
yeah, definitely, and definitely AC got a massive break with Ivan failing that power dodge too. Actually, looks like MN comes out on top though with that race.
Yeah, they did enough to get enough middle spots, and I'd like to see, since we are watching Nota for a lot of this war, it seems like a lot of times what happens is he makes a mistake early on, but then he plays well enough, for the end of the race to catch up and get a decent spot for himself later. And I'd really like to see him start, playing well for all 3 laps and closing out, because, yeah, like I was saying, closing has been something that's been really tough for these teams. When they show that they understand the tracks well, and that they can play well enough to get into top spots, and then it just kind of falls apart.
Definitely, it's almost like the smallest fails too, like falling off of a track at a certain place, like a weird place that you'd never expect it to happen, or something so small like failing a pow dodge. Like that's not even like the track itself. That's you as the player, you know.
And those things do happen randomly sometimes, and I mean, you never know what could go wrong next. That's just part of the game. And that's why people love Mario Kart so much, is that there's so much room for comebacks and for just random plays to happen. And we're moving on to Hell Pyramids. Yeah, this is another track that a lot of teams do like, but I don't think these teams in particular pick that often. It's regarded as being pretty good for running, especially that pyramid section doesn't really have too many chances to really pass top spots, and there are some good spots to back.
Definitely, and like especially with this going into match 3, this is, I guess, a lot of teams bringing out their pocket pick, something they don't usually pick, but something that at this point they don't really have a choice at this point, because what else do you have left? You've already ran through the at least 25 CTs at the moment, so.
That was a really nice banana from Stubbs. I don't know if you caught that, but pretty much he called out that he was backing a banana, in the line that he was wheeling in on that blind dip after the bridge, and it caught one of the MN players behind this top 2 for AC. So they're doing a really good job holding this, and that's something that I think AC, they do play a little bit more resourceful with their items, as opposed to MN, who are mostly focused on just driving fast and not getting hit. And it seems to be making a bit of a difference, at least in this race right now.
Definitely, and like Noda actually getting blued right here, so we'll see if anything happens beforehand. Noda being all the way dropped back, and Ivan's gonna pretty much be fighting with him for 4th here while holding this Mega. Mega coming out though, he's actually maybe trying to take out Noda.
Yeah, interesting that he opted to go for that so early. It seems like he eventually, got a little bit of space away from Noda, but like right away he just went for that schlag, and it didn't really seem to net them too much, especially because he didn't get it. But Noda did get back bombed, and we saw he got comboed as well. So looks like MN are actually 1-3-4 going into lap 3. So it's up to AC to see what they can do to turn this around, and they are mostly pretty far behind there in 5, 6, 7. But they are, I was about to say, they're in good spots to pull a blue, and there's the first one.
Yeah, there's a blue coming out, so blue coming, taking
both of them,
hitting 2 of MN, so
yeah, that's huge. That's not a mistake you can afford to be making, because they had a lot of time.
There's a shot coming in too, and it's going to be target shocking Ivan.
Noda's AC shock. We see Noda dodging up into star, and I think, yeah, now the race flipped around. We see AC in a lot of good spots right now, but the pack is pretty close after that shot.
Definitely, a lot of things can still happen. There's still tons of room for some items to really change the whole aspect of the race.
Yeah, but Ivan getting his box stolen by his teammate, and neither player from MN in the back taking cut. It looks like Sawyer's going to be passing them. This is looking like it's going to be a good race for AC, unless something crazy happens, right at the end.
Doesn't look like it too much. There's a Mega coming out for Ivan, but a little too late. I don't think the shock is available yet, so looks like that's going to be it.
And wait, do I see Boodog and Signal both in the room for AC? Do they make a sub that I'm not aware of?
I think there might be a sub coming out. Wasn't Signal is in for Charlie?
Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say I don't think I saw Charlie that race. So yeah, they're sending Boodog forwards since he bagged match 2. Signal bagged match 1. And now he's back in bagging, and so now Boodog's running, and that was a top 3-5 for AC, so they did use that shock pretty well. I mean, I definitely think MN misplayed a little bit. We saw a questionable Mega usage from Ivan, as well as both of them getting hit by that blue, but AC did what they had to do.
Definitely, and there might have just been a miscommunication around the blue. Maybe someone didn't call where the blue was hitting them and what line, so it was just a giant guessing game, but at the end of the day, that's 2 MN members being taken out by a blue, so, if you're AC, it's pretty free.
Yeah, a little bit of a lucky break there for AC. And now they do have top 3-5 going into this next race. And they pick Mansion of Madness, another track that I don't know how often they pick. But another track that I know a lot of other teams do opt to go for. And I think since they they play lounge a lot, and they do probably see other people picking these tracks to run, so it makes sense.
Definitely. We also see a little bit of Resway too. We saw it a little bit coming out last match too, but it didn't quite get picked. Maybe we'll see it actually this match though. But coming out, we're going into Mansion of Madness, starting third right now with Noda.
Yeah, looking to swerve so as to not get drafted at the beginning, to try to hold these top spots, because if you can make it to about halfway through the track, then it becomes really hard to pass people, because there's a lot of boost panels, a lot of weird strats with not that much space, but that's a weird mistake for Noda to be making to lose that top 3.
Yeah, speaking of weird strats, it looks like, is that usually a thing? Like, do they try and do the wall balance into going into that small little?
No, definitely not. That's he kind of made that one up on the spot. I think.
Oh, no, I'm no CT god, but I'm pretty sure that's not how that's supposed to.
Yeah, it did not look right by any means.
All right, well, fair enough with that. That brings Noda all the way back in the 6th. Going to be hitting a box here, and he's actually hitting a blooper.
Yeah, it looks like MN are 2-3-4 right now, so only one AC player left in first, despite this being their running track that they wanted. Kind of relates to what we've been saying about how they're just not doing too great of a job at holding their spots, as a collective.
Well, we are seeing Mega 4th with a Mega. It looked like one of MN actually might have fallen off, so that brings Noda back in back into a top 4 spot here. And it's really going to be up in the air whether he decides to opt to hold this Mega in case his team pulls shock, or, Yeah,
there's one little off-road cut that we might see him take just to get up into 3rd, if he makes it to that with this Mega. It's a sitting track for the bags. It looks like Stubbs, was that a snipe or a backspam from... That was either Swampy or Vesfev. I couldn't really see what happened to it. It was pretty small on my screen, but...
Could have been either, but that brings MN into top 2, though, so...
Yeah, that is Vesfev in first now. So we'll see if Noda ends up burning this Mega right away just to try to get up there and get close to him to make a play. Because it's a sitting track and it doesn't seem like anyone has
Swampy going into a Mega. There's another Mega coming out as well with Noda's. Blue coming out too, taking out Vespa. And then there's a dodge coming in too, so that's going to be bringing Noda all the way in the first.
Yeah, Noda calling the other team out of their Mega just to get a really, really solid breakaway in first place. I'm not sure if that benefited any of the other AC players in the back, although it's definitely possible that one of them took that cut in a star and that they're in a really good spot themselves. And he does hit that zipper strat. That's a place where people do often get turned around and they end up backwards, and it's really crazy when that happens. But looks like Ivan, despite the things that have happened to him, is still in 3rd place this race himself.
Definitely, so it brings him into 3rd. He has a single green, but there's not a whole lot he can really do with this, as it seems he's pretty divided from everyone else in the room.
Yeah, if I'm Ivan, I wouldn't be touching a box at all. There's no reason to risk getting a TC in 3rd, and there's really nothing you're going to get that's going to help you, but he is just trying to spam these greens back at the AC players behind him and maybe take him out to get some more points for his team at the end. It doesn't look like he connects on anyone. And he knows the Thwomp cycles, and he's waiting to avoid a target shock, but they're going to actually get him anyway. So 2 shocks in the race for AC, and that one definitely helped them gain some spots.
And that brings Ivan all the way back to 5th, which is absolutely brutal if you're Ivan.
And they knew it was coming too. I'm not sure how AC were able to secure 2 shocks on that sitting track, unless maybe MN went for a bit of a gamble and it didn't work out for them, but... Yeah, AC getting another decent race.
Slowing down there might have been the ultimate reason why he got target shocked. Maybe if he just went through it, he would have been fine.
I'm not sure if, that could have been a called shock, or it could have just been them telling the bagger to wait for the right time, but a top 3 for AC at the end of it, and 6th place as well. That's going to be a huge lead for them after only 3 races. So finally, we're starting to see AC kind of execute their shocks on lap 3 a little bit better and not losing their spots like we saw before. That was a big problem that they had, especially in the second match.
Definitely, they were definitely playing a little bit cleaner going into this first GP of match 3. We're seeing a lot more cleaner calls, a lot more cleaner driving, definitely respecting the space of their teammates. So AC is definitely cleaning up the sloppy play of match 2. And we're going to see if they can really keep this up the rest of this match.
Right, and a track like Mansion of Madness, you can't expect everyone to drive well the entire way through just because some of those strats are kind of wacky and they might not be too familiar with how to do everything, but they did enough, and they used their shocks effectively as well to secure top spots and put everyone else in a good position. And then, that TS ramp at the end is just so brutal, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing Riven Road come out now, so
This is one of the first retros we've seen this whole time, with the exception of there was Baby Park and DK Pass, and that's been almost it, I think.
yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of retros being picked up going out from these two teams, and
Let's see how well they can hold this top two. They're both trailing their items. This is kind of scary for them. It looks like they're gonna let Noda go out in first, as he does seem to be the person that is the most comfortable with just driving. And he's gonna backspin on that rail, which is just so devastating. There's really no room to avoid that. It's such a skinny rail, and you lose like maybe a second and a half if you go around.
definitely. And
that's why the track is so good.
Taking up the full extent of the rail, so it's either get hit or get hit, basically.
Right, and we're gonna see him, backing, calling out his backspins like we've seen AC do for pretty much the entirety of this series, just putting items tight, forcing the players behind him to lose time, and allowing his teammates to add items onto it. Backing on the landing up for that boost panel, another really tricky one. Actually ends up hitting Vespev in 8th place, and Noda should be totally fine to win this race without a blue.
Definitely, and with how he's driving, it's really easy to see that there's going to be really no problems with driving the rest of this, despite any potential items that could come over to really mess him up. But other than that, he doesn't show any signs of making mistakes or anything like that, at least for this. But there's a blue shell coming in, which is going to bring that 2, 3, 4 closer to him.
And he somehow, what a play! He backs up to avoid the TC from Swampy, and I think he broke a red on the wall at the same time. So AC's gonna hold on to top 3, Noda avoiding the combo, but unfortunately running into a banana.
He's still holding 4th though, so he's not too. But he just hit him another banana.
Oh wait, is that Ivan in first? Actually, I think I'm messing up my. It might be, yeah, because I just realized that's Boodog back here, and with this TC on Noda, he's kind of in a rough spot, and he's gonna get hit off.
He does. It does look like he did pass the TC though, but at the cost of getting hit off the track. I don't know. That might be his race fully done.
Let's see. A power head could maybe come in on Ivan at the last second. No, he's gonna be able to get around the wall. They didn't quite time that right.
Ring coming up from Stubbs,
that is not gonna hit.
A very nice attempt from Stubbs though.
A bunch of people getting taken out of the line. Actually, the whole room just died. What just happened? And all of a sudden, Noda comes out in 5th.
Yeah.
So I think that was a pretty even race. I'm not really sure how that happened. It looked like Ivan just kind of went quickly enough around the rail every lap so that he would still be able to pass Noda after that blue. But he didn't really put himself at too much of a risk. So well played by him. But that was a sick play from Noda to back up to the side after he got blued to avoid the TC combo, and he did end up getting 5th out of it. So Stubbs just barely missing the 60. I didn't even realize he was on pace for it, but a 57 for him, huge points from Stubbs, and that was a big GP for AC.
Definitely, Stubbs coming up huge, coming into this GP1. Showing why he's here. Going into hopefully being able to continue what he's got going for him into the next GP.
We didn't really see him, shining too well individually so far. We saw like match 1, Noda and Sawyer had a huge GP, I believe. Was there another 57 there, maybe?
I think that was the GP you were talking about. I think the 57 was Sawyer. Don't quote me.
Yeah, and that definitely speaks to the strategies of these teams to pick these complicated tracks and just hit all the shroomless strats in first and build a lead, and that's why we're seeing such big individual points in some of these GPs. But now that it's race 5, the spots are going to get reset, and it's up to AC to hold their lead now.
Definitely, a massive GP coming up for AC anyways with that plus 42, so that's really going to put MN on their toes, thinking they're going to need a big race pretty soon to really try and nullify the damage that AC put on them. GP1.
AC have been picking Lava Lake for a long time now, and we still have yet to see it. Flowery Greenhouse, though, is a new track as far as this series goes.
Yeah, and you know, seeing a little bit of Flowery Greenhouse, we haven't really seen that one been picked yet, so definitely some more variety coming out. And it actually looks like we will be seeing Lava Lake finally come out.
Yeah, this is another one of those tracks where the main driving strats around the track are pretty simple, but there are a lot of different shortcuts, and it's just about picking the right ones and getting up to the front at the right times, knowing how to use a good shock when it comes down to it. We're probably not going to see anyone break too far away without, an early shock, just because this track is pretty simple. But there will definitely be players making moves to get up into first for pretty much the entirety of the race.
Definitely, and there is always that potential. Say someone gets a Bill in 8th, and you can do that nasty Bill strat.
That does save a ridiculous amount of time, as well as there's this Shroomer shortcut right here that we see Nota take pretty well, and if you get shocked at the very beginning of that, you get a really good respawn where it will put you on the other side, kind of like a respawn strat. So there's not really a chance to TS anyone at the end there, even though it kind of looks like you would be able to. So Noda's just gonna keep holding this Mega. Despite all the shortcuts and despite all the chaos, he's got it in second. He's actually just gonna use it right away to get into first, looking for a Schlag as well. But I don't know if he's even ahead of Vespef on his screen. Yeah, Vespef actually. Oh, that was a big misplay. So I believe Vespef is from France, right? And people from France are notorious from having a little bit more lag than most other players, and especially, as an American, Noda should know that he's got to be really far ahead of Vespef to actually squish him. And so he kind of ended up letting Vespef stay in first and wasting his Mega.
Definitely, and with that, he's actually also going to get a TC that it looked like he passed off the stubs too, so,
AC getting just totally taken out right now. They're just trying to hot potato this TC around to someone who has a dodge, but they're not able to do it, and MN are, I believe, top 2, maybe 4th as well. We see Boodog using a star getting up there. I'm not sure which bagger has shock right now. I haven't really been looking too much, but I guess we'll see.
But MN definitely looks really nice having this top 2 right now, so... but it looks like Vespef falls off, though, in first.
Yeah, that's huge. Just another little bit of a throw from MN, not getting as many points as they should out of this race. We see AC are in 2-5, but Noda missing that box at the end, not going to be able to make up any ground. He just has to not get hit, and I think MN still won the race, but again, they needed more out of that.
That's just it. Like when you have it at this point where you're set up for success, right? You have that top 2 just to see one of your top 2 runners fall off like that when you're in such dire need of a big race. It's just brutal.
And I mean, the whole reason that situation was so good for them is just because Noda misplayed pretty badly with that Mega, honestly. He used it really early and wasn't able to get the Schlag that he wanted on Vespef, and he kind of ended up letting him get back into first.
They still get a 1-3-4 out of it, so it's not too bad, but a top 2-4 definitely would have been way better.
Yeah, and they needed to start closing the gap a little bit because they don't have as many of their favorite running tracks left. And maybe that's why we're seeing some more fails come out, is that these are tracks that they haven't practiced as much. It's also worth noting that I was watching in between match 2 and 3. Noda was time trialing. He was playing Marble Towers and Infernal Pipeyard. So I do think that we might see them pick those tracks.
Potentially come out, try and do a little bit of match 3 prep for what's about to happen.
That's my inside scoop. Which is not much data because it doesn't seem like they've even been picking those tracks yet, but who knows?
Yeah, only time will tell. Seeing Riverside Park and Rush City Run coming out.
Yeah, both tracks where shock is going to be a huge factor. Definitely putting some trust in their baggers to get it, and it's going to be Riverside Park. This is a track that gets played all the time, and it's no secret how to win on this track. It just has two absolutely massive shortcuts at the beginning, and if you can manage to take the big cut on more than one lap or take it in a really good spot, then you could get a huge lead early, especially if you dodge at the same time.
Definitely, and it looks like Noda and Sawyer going for the option to try and run it early, see if you can't,
Ooh,
get
but
somewhat
Ivan
of a break.
goldening up, actually. He had a golden in a really good spot right out of the gate, and he's going to be just completely gone in first place. He'll probably be able to hold that for a long time, although I would expect to see a blue here. Noda kind of failing, hitting the grass, not really too much of an issue. He's just going to be in a lower spot to get triple shrooms, maybe a mega, or even a blue, of course.
Definitely, but they're gonna really have to really start digging for that blue if they want to try and get Ivan out of that first place position.
Also, still, they can't lose sight of these bottom spots as well. That was a really good back red that Noda just did, because you can't allow the MN players in the back to just hold their dodges and be close enough to just dodge and beat everyone at the end. You have to make it a problem for them as well. So that's good that Noda's still aware to hit the bottom spots as well. But an early shot coming out from AC, that was Boodog using his bill. I think he took the second part of the cut maybe. And he's going to bill all the way up into first place. So AC taking over first again, but the blue
First
comes out
shot
right
coming
away.
up right away for Boodog. Boodog's getting taken out mid-air, and that's gonna bring Ivan right back in the first.
A single shroom in second or third for AC could probably allow them to contest Ivan again, but the chances of that are pretty low.
Definitely, although AC is still sitting in 2-3, so they're not too far out of it right now. Ivan's only a little bit ahead, so if there's another blue shell, they will definitely catch up to him, no problem whatsoever. But the shortcut is coming into play right now, so we'll see how the positions change. Looks like MN's switching to the top two now.
Looks like Vesif was the only person taking that cut. Noda taking the little time trial strap behind the tree, messing it up. Getting the hop dodge, though, and the triple shrooms. A lot of wacky stuff happening right now, but it looks like MN are going to be able to securely get this top two since there is no target shot coming out, and Noda just yeets a bomb at the end, because why not?
Tries to hit them with the Hail Mary, but not in contention.
So that early shot from AC would have probably worked to get them first without that blue, but I mean, they just kind of left too much up to chance. I really think that they couldn't have benefited from maybe holding that a little bit longer. Although it's kind of tough there because, holding Bill means that you're going to fall behind while everyone else takes cut. That's what they focus the shock on.
There's also just no way to predict that, you're going to get blued immediately after dodging, right?
That was really unfortunate. And I think the blue even skipped that U-turn as well, because, I mean, he got blued really quick. He did not have time to slow down and try to get Ivan blued instead. And he was also on that boost panel on the last turn. So yeah, top two for MN, 6-7 as well. Not a huge race, but they're chipping away a little bit, trying to build on what they started with that first race. And
it's not too bad though, because it definitely puts them further in the direction they're looking towards. Definitely, it's almost taking away about I'd say about a third of their lead. So not too bad of a race. Still definitely what they're looking for, and yeah.
Yeah, I think the only real problem for AC was that they didn't have anyone in a decent spot, other than Boodog after that shock. You'd expect with their lap 2 shock that it could maybe set someone else up in a good spot to take cut as well, but it seemed like their shock just kind of really was centered around using that build to get into first, and they didn't really have a backup plan in case that didn't work out. And I think that's something that again, we were talking before about differences between D2 and D1, is that maybe in D2, their shocks are just focused on getting first, and the rest of the players just kind of have to fend for themselves, but they do miss out on some opportunities.
Very true. And as we see, Moon Manor getting selected, so we'll see how this plays out for both teams. What spots benefit for New Moon?
So this is another track with a ridiculous amount of off-road cuts, especially at the beginning. You can cut off this entire first turn, as well as there's a little mud shortcut down in the I don't know what to call it. It's like sewers maybe. I don't know, but it does save a lot of time as well. You can do that with one shroom. There's also a shroomless cut about halfway through the track that you can block pretty easily, and that involves a couple ramps. And I believe, I forget who it is, but I'm pretty sure someone in this room has the BKT on this track right now. I just saw it like a couple days ago on CTGP records, but This is definitely a very predictable track pick for MN, as they have been picking the same type of tracks this whole series. And Noda using this golden right now is, again, I don't know if I agree with that. Because there's a huge golden strat at the end of this track, but with the POW coming in, maybe he knew that that was going to happen, and he just wanted to get up there while he had the chance.
Well, he finds himself in first place, so he's obviously not making completely terrible decisions, so not too bad. Swampy right behind them, though, so definitely looking at run for his money. But Swampy actually edges him out and gets in the first.
So the golden strat here is to cut off that whole turn on the right, and then you get a much lower jump when you go down into this underground section, and then you can actually take the cut that the time trial would do on the right here. But it looks like that's going to be Swampy taking the cut. You know, Noda in first place allows the players behind him to have chances to get streams, and that's exactly what MN did as they move up into top spots.
Fair enough, and then it moves him back into 6. He has a bomb. He's going to be dropping it, unfortunately, but not a whole lot also going. That POW making it a little bit difficult for people to really line up for that cut, though.
Yeah, definitely allowing that top 2 to break away a little bit more. We see Noda using his star to take that cut again. That's not the most beneficial cut on this track, although it can be useful, especially in lap 3 situations. And he's just going to kind of put himself in a spot where he's much more vulnerable to getting hit. And I do think that he should have been a little bit more disciplined with that star, because again, there's a really good spot to use your items. Let's see if he... No, he's not even doing the golden strat at the end. He might not know about it. I'm not sure if this is a track that they really, practice too much.
Fair enough, and Swampy and Ivan still 2-3 right now, so not really sure who's holding first at the moment.
I think that's Sawyer in first, and we do see Noda eventually actually making his way up there. He might have chained that golden into another good item, and Ivan running straight into a green, despite having 2 greens around him for protection. And now this shortcut at the end is just going to be kind of a mess. It seems like most players are opting just to not go for it. They don't want to risk getting bumped off by someone around them. And I guess that's a decent call, just for the sake of playing it safe.
Not too bad, and also, they're getting Ivan getting triple shrooms, actually. It's going to bring him right into third, actually. So, not too bad at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 1-3. Maybe a shock right here at the end on Noda? No. Nothing. I'm not sure if either bagger has it. Looks like they went for a TS.
But there is a dodge up too, so maybe a 1-3-4? Maybe in the top 2.
I think so. I think they were trying to shock red Noda and maybe TS him over the last ramp and pass him with that mega dodge. They weren't able to make up quite enough ground, so yeah, it's still a decent race for MN. They held that shock a really long time, and I think was that Boodog maybe in a mega aftershock, or did he predict it and he was just laggy? I don't really know.
But I'm not entirely sure. I think he might have got, because I think behind, I think it was Noda they shocked after. Everyone else got shocked in the boxes, I believe. So the mega might have came after shock.
So 1-3-4 for MN, and Vesfef, who actually is the guy who has BKT, got 7th, ironically, but that just speaks to how the track plays online, and that does not really reflect driving ability too much. So that's going to bring the score a little bit closer, and AC, they had a decent lead after GP1, but it was definitely not enough for them to be comfortable, and MN are looking to bring it back.
Definitely, MN putting in work, really shredding this this lead that AC worked so hard to get after GP1. So definitely Manganese making sure that this match 3 is nothing short of exciting.
So AC going with the other GBA track that gets spammed in Lounge for having an absurd amount of off-road. Bayside Boulevard, another track that they've been picking a lot of these tracks that are they had like a peak in the CT community where they were picked a lot, especially by certain teams, and then they kind of fell off the radar as new tracks came out. And Bayside Boulevard is definitely one of those tracks. It has a lot of wacky strats, especially in this beginning section where it's really kind of cramped. There's a lot of different routes you could take, so I'm interested to see which team ends up doing better here.
Actually, we see Noda right there get bumped quite a bit right there into the wall, so not able to really capitalize on the very very first start, but Stubbs actually moves over and actually gets his own teammate.
So this track is not really too developed as far as how to play it as a team. There's definitely a lot of interesting spots where you can catch up and a lot of items that could be really powerful. So it looks like Noda's going to drop to 8th and get Bill on the first try, and that could be really useful later on.
Definitely. So definitely going to be a really nice heads up for the bagger. May make it a little bit easier, but also could be also a bad thing.
Oh, and he didn't get the stick on that turn. There is sticky road there, and the strat is to hop. But he kind of, again, I don't like Noda. He just kind of he gets a little trigger happy when he has power items and something goes wrong. And this Bill's actually going to take him on the long path, which is a decent bit slower than the actual route or the normal route. So I really feel like he's just got to, calculate a little bit more whether or not it's worth it for him to burn his items when he's in the back.
Definitely, but at least we're seeing a nice view of the rest of the track.
Yeah, you almost never see. I don't know if I've taken that route in years. But yeah, he's gonna end up in 7th, which is where he was, at the last lap when he had Bill. But he's gonna go for the Shroomless strat here, and pull a star as well, which he's gonna burn right away. There could be a shot coming in. We do see MN have been first place pretty much the whole race, and Ivan is also holding the blue shell in 6th.
So it makes you wonder. So who do you think has shock at this point, MN or AC?
It's gotta be MN, right? They probably would have dodged Noda. AC would have dodged Noda if they had the chance there. And we might see Ivan maybe call himself one of these boost panels. We see Vespev getting taken out. Let's see if they can do anything with shock. They don't even call it, and that's kind of a missed opportunity because, even though you don't have dodges, that doesn't mean you can't benefit from a shock. And we saw Ivan get passed by Noda, who had streams because he was stuck with blue. So MN kind of not using all the resources that they had available to them, leaving some more points on the table, and that's not something that they can afford to be doing when it's this close.
Yeah, definitely, and that cleaning up the end of GP2. So with only 4 races left in match 3, we come very close to finding out who's going to be taking home the Division 2 title. But I am actually curious to see what the results were for this race to really.
Yeah, I know MN got first. I think whoever it was, it was either Vespev or Swampy. One of the blonde Miis was quite far ahead for the majority of that race.
Actually, yeah. So MN actually having a pretty decent race coming out here.
Again, could have been better, and since every point does matter, at this stage of the game, it would have been nice to see them try a little bit harder to squeak out some more spots. But that was a really, really good GP for them.
Definitely.
With only one left.
That almost makes it pretty much tied, I'd say, going in. Yeah, only a 2-point difference.
It's going completely down to the wire.
If this doesn't tell you it's anyone's title, I don't know what will.
Time for these teams to just dig deep. They got to figure out some way to get the edge over their opponents. We can't predict what's going to happen at this point. Any track could get picked during this GP. But yeah, I think what's going to decide it is just which team makes less mistakes. I think these teams, they've shown that they're pretty good with these tracks, pretty experienced across the board, but they just kind of, it's like something will go wrong and it will kind of snowball off of that. Like we saw with Noda, like kind of making a mistake with him being in a bad spot and wasting his item. And he needs to just stay disciplined a little bit.
Definitely, I think the bill on Bayside was definitely a big thing for why MN was able to really just walk away with that top 2 with Noda pretty much the bill forcing him to take that route that really just is super slow, just pretty much takes him out of the full race in that aspect.
And we are actually dead even with 4 races to go, so just 4 races to decide it all after 2 full matches and 8 races leading up to this point. Now it's just 1 GP.
And that's it, with Infernal Pipe Yard getting locked in.
The D2 banner on the line. Most of these players have not been, in a finals like this in D2 before. It's just going to be a matter of who can clutch it out.
That's just it. And already early, Ivan getting knocked off the track, so that's going to set him back with Noda back in 7th right now, holding a star.
So Noda getting a dodge early, which we've seen him do quite a bit throughout this series, and he generally does a decent job holding his item into a good spot. It's just about whether or not he can really use it effectively, because a lot of times, we do see him wasting these items, and he's gonna actually go for an early schlag, and he does hit FF. He adapted from that last time where he tried to stop mega him. He was much further ahead, and he got him maybe even off the track, I think, and now MN are super far behind in bottom 2.
Definitely, and also taking out those 2 people, really solidifying that bottom 2 is going to make the difference, because now you only have to worry about 2 members of MN aside from 4. So,
and Budog with his TC. Ooh, he was looking for a pass on the Swampy there, but I think Swampy must have shroomed past him, and he managed to run away. Yeah, that blue is going to allow, I think that's Chi to get back into first place for the time being. And I think Swampy got up there as well. That TC pass from Budog could have been another huge play for AC, but I think he just didn't account for his opponent having shrooms there.
Ivan's coming up too, so that brings Ivan back into the mix as well. Now they get to golden, starts goldening away. That's going to bring him right into 4th, right behind Sawyer.
Yeah, I mean, there's only that one shortcut right at the beginning of the track, and shock is usually used to benefit one team, to take that cut or to stop the other team from taking it. So let's see what AC do, because they do need to get back into this top 2.
Definitely, with Noda playing a pretty good mixture of like passive but also aggressive, trying to make sure that he takes tight lines to where he can try and get closer to them, but not too close to where he's going to get backspam and lose a ton of time.
Yeah, so Noda unable to pull shrooms for that lap. Let's see if Sawyer got something in 4th. No, he didn't either, so MN's still top 2 after the shortcut, and the pack is super spread out other than that. We see Vespef in 5th, trying to slow down the AC members as well. I think Ivan ended up off the track there somehow, so spots don't look like they'll change too much. He just barely avoids that red. And actually, did he just land on a banana?
I'm not sure.
I think that's what happened. I think the MN player in 2nd just landed on a banana, a hidden banana on that mushroom.
Vespef dodging up though, has been bringing him back in the 3rd, maybe even try and take over 2nd, but at the moment it looks like he's in 3rd.
Yeah, and he falls off again. What is going on?
That brings AC in the 2-3 though. So.
The nerves are at an all-time high for all these players. You almost never see people falling off on that spot in particular. Let's see what Ivan can do with this bomb here. He's going to look to hit Budog maybe, if he chucks it like maybe right now. He throws him, but Budog ends up using a Mega, and another Mega comes out.
Oh, but
and he's going to get started off, and Chi gets hit as well. Oh my gosh. I can't even process what just happened that entire race. It seems like there's so many there's been so many races where like it's just a complete chaotic mess for half the players, and then the other half of the players just kind of drive up in the front on their own, and it's just all about getting out of the slums, if you will, into that open space where you can just drive.
That's just it. I think a lot of the nerves are really starting to show, and maybe even a little bit of fatigue are coming from the players too, from playing a best of 3. Really going in, playing all these races are really starting to really catch up. But AC just getting a 2-3-4, MN still getting the 1st, so still nullifying most of that damage.
Yeah, again, I feel like that just should have been so much better for MN. They'd lost top spots really on their own accord at the end. It wasn't even like cool snipes or them getting outplayed. They just kind of were victims to the track there, and so now 3 races to go, AC with a tiny lead. And the mistakes are starting to add up.
Definitely, and at this point, with 3 races to go, you really can't afford to be making mistakes like falling off the track or, certain things, especially, when there's a title on the line and there's only 3 races to go. But Resway 2 coming out for MN, and seeing a mix of Delfino Island, Desert Castle Raceway.
Yeah, it seems like MN for the most part is either picking tracks where the entire track is filled with big ramps and shroomless strats, or tracks that are just entirely filled with off-road cuts. And Resway is definitely a member of the second category there. This is basically N64 Mario Raceway, but it just looks a little bit different.
Definitely, and like at the same time though, it's working. They're playing to their strengths, and it's working out for them. So it's hard to see why they wouldn't be continuing with the game they're playing right now.
That's true. You know, we said they were able to take a game off of AC, which is something that they weren't able to do during the regular season, and it's time for them to do it again.
Now they're sitting in game 3, only down 7 points, so it is still very much so their potential title. So we'll see how this goes. But we're seeing Noda 4th right now, Boodog in 3rd.
Yeah, not too much significance for these spots right now. They're definitely subject to change later on. I mean, they can go for all the backswings and snipes they want, but at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to who takes cut on lap 3. There's that big shortcut where you can go around the fence there on the left, as well as the one where you can cut off the lake and avoid those slow ramps, which are they really take a while to get across, even though it doesn't really seem like it.
Definitely, and you know, Blue Shell coming out too, so that's gonna put a little bit of a damper on MN with Vesvef getting blued right there, and Noda being shrooming up back in the 4th place.
Yeah, Noda definitely probably would have preferred to get a star, but he is going to shroom up into the spot where, ooh, nice snipe from Stubbs. And it's actually a top 3 for AC, but this could go really badly if they let MN get all of the good items. But that POW is actually going to get a lot of players after the boxes, I think. And I'm not sure who's going to be able to actually get up into the top spots. But we see Swampy and Vesvef actually going around the wall. They're going to be able to make their way up here. And let's see what he gets. This last box is so important.
Oh, he's getting his off the track! And he is absolutely gone, going in the Ivan. He's 3rd place right now, right behind Boodog, and it looks like he might actually have to settle for 4th, but a huge fib going off of Noda, completely ending the race.
Yeah, and Swampy ended up getting 1st off of that. That was exactly what I was describing. You know, I don't know if Noda, shrooming up to the front there was the right play, because they just let MN take all the cuts available to them on the track to catch back up, and who knows, if MN had shock as well, they could have, had an even better race out of it. But I mean, that fib on the ramp was just so costly, and I think that his teammate probably backed that in first, and he just wasn't able to avoid it.
Definitely, and 1, 3, 4, 6, and even the 9th place coming up for MN too is really going to shift us back into their favor.
Noda not seeming to have that clutch factor that we were talking about that these players need.
Definitely, MN just completely they are out here ready to play, and they are running with it.
Yeah, Manganese 2 races away from being crowned the Division 2 champs, but there's still a lot of Mario Kart left to go.
At the same time, though, it's the same circumstances for AC. This is still very close and still anyone's title. So going in, 1, 3, 4, MN's probably going to be looking for definitely a track that will benefit those spots, and a bit of Aquania, so and Flying Kingdom going for AC. So
I feel like it might just come down to whichever team gets to pull shock in these last 2 races, because I don't think we saw a shock so far this GP. This is a good running track as well as being a cannon track, so definitely the potential for a huge game-changing shock right here.
We'll definitely see how it goes here. So MN actually pulling in the favor of now it's 8 points up in them. So if they can actually combat that Resway 2 race with a good race here, they could be in a pretty strong setting to go into this last race.
And Noda right off the bat had a chance to get a box in maybe 7th or 8th place, but he didn't realize that box wasn't getting taken on his screen. So he took the rail strat, and now he's just kind of itemless, kind of hung himself out to dry here, and he keeps finding himself in that situation where he's just surrounded by players who have items or who have better items than him, and he needs to sort of be a little bit more prepared to avoid those situations.
Definitely, MN sitting 1, 3, 4 right now with Ivan having triple stream. Sawyer's going in a mega, trying to really stop troll as many as he can, but doesn't look like it's going to be connecting. MN looks like they're moving in the top 3.
Sawyer and Noda have a lot of work to do. I think they should mostly just be focusing on what's ahead of them right now, because MN definitely could break away, and there's a mega from Vesvef, Noda might have to burn his, unless he can just get past. Yeah, Vespa just missed his Mega attempt there, so Noda with this Mega in 4th could definitely make his way up to the front, seeing how close everyone is. And it looks like Sawyer actually made it up there already.
Definitely, Swampy right in front of him with this Fib. If he can really just try and take Noda out with this Fib, it could be massive, but it doesn't look like it's going to really connect a whole lot, so...
I think Swampy messed up that ramp strat. Let's see, he's gonna go for the stop Mega.
He's gonna go for a stop Mega, but I don't know if it's
And he doesn't hit anyone. He's just gotta stay. He's just gotta stay in second. I think once you miss, yeah, see that's the same thing he did before. Is once you realize that you didn't get the Mega, you just have to stay ahead of them because now he just gave up, 2-3, and he's in 4th. He was in a decent spot, and then he just kind of threw it away.
That's just it. Now he's in 4th, hit by a Nana, and he's gonna have to use his mushroom to recover. It brings him in the 4th. Blue Dog in front of him, so he's gonna be looking for probably more shrooms to really try and get himself more up there.
Yeah, Sawyer's lead did increase a little bit, so 1-3-4 for AC. A single blue or thundercloud here could change so much of these spots. And it's really scary seeing what item he's going to get in 4th here.
Definitely gets a single shroom, so... And TC getting stuck behind him by Vesfef, so...
Yeah, I don't know if he can make it to the can, but Noda went really wide, and he's going to slam his red!
He's going to red Blue Dog! And Vesfef passes the TC! And...
Oh my god, it's all falling apart for AC. Noda just
AC, everything
so hard.
is going down.
Is that Ivan's gonna Mega to the end? I don't know what spot. Noda actually just kind of train wrecked himself there and his teammate.
Yeah, everything just completely went down the toilet for AC in that last lap right there. We'll see how they can try and recover themselves with, but I think that race looked pretty good for MN.
And I mean, he just has to be so nervous in this situation. I mean, we see him making mistake after mistake, and it's so easy to sit here and just talk about the things that he should be doing better. But he's probably freaking out while playing this, and I mean, it shows. They were in such a good spot before that, and he just kind of let it slip.
Yeah, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9 for MN, so that's going to be a winning race for them coming out of it, but.
Yeah, that was almost like the worst case scenario for him. I think there was a very, very slim chance that was going to go that wrong, and everything just happened. Just wasn't really prepared to deal with that situation.
Oh man, it's coming down to the last race.
Oh my goodness.
So basically, AC's got to go hard to try and swing this for their 2-1, or MN can play for a winning, or even just hold them by a little bit and walk away. So
you called that it'd be a close 2-1.
I know, and I hate it.
Yeah, 13 points is actually, that's like almost comfortable. Like MN can kind of just focus on like only securing first or only securing 2-3 if they really want to play the numbers here. Mushroom Island though coming out, a track that is a little bit less, volatile than it used to be, because they actually had to patch it a couple times to sort of nerf the shortcut.
All right, someone get Dermo on the phone. No, I'm kidding. All right, here we go. Mushroom Island. This is exactly
down to Mushroom Island.
This is exactly what happened in D3. Now it's happening again in D2.
All right, Noda starting off with a pretty bad pull there. Triple Red's not really going to be putting him in too great of a spot, but he's just going to kind of get rid of these. Takes out Ivan. Looks like Stubbs gets hit as well. I don't really know too much of how the meta has changed on this track, thanks to this cut now saving a lot less time than it used to. I wonder if we'll be able to see anyone just front run this whole race, because getting first here is absolutely essential for either of these teams.
Definitely.
I just feel like he's got to be more focused on pulling those shrooms.
I didn't even check, but who actually picked this track? Which team was this?
I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll go with it. But we're seeing Noda pulling a Mega in 5th right now, so he might be pretty tempted to maybe hold this, see if he can't, if his team can't pull the shock for him.
Yeah, we see the top spots are pretty close for the most part here. Noda's going to make his way up and be relatively close, and whichever team has shock is going to be looking really good, because it's really easy to target shock as many players as you please on these mushrooms. I don't know about how bad the respawns are, but let's see. I feel like shock might decide it.
Oh, it's definitely going to come down the shock with the blue coming out for Sawyer. That's really going to take him. But
Noda uses his Mega. in a situation where I don't know if he can pass MN, but he is going to get more items. If he gets one
I,
shroom, he'll be able to get into
know.
first. Looking for snipes,
But
not finding his mark anywhere.
I think that might be a detail that maybe MN has shock right now, as he just burns the Mega trying to get what he can on them, and it's do or die right now. So
yeah, he's gotta hit every snipe here. Can he maybe get one on Chi? He gained some time on him. He took that strat really well.
He's got to do something. Goes for a nano snipe, doesn't quite connect though. He has a red.
Still
though.
hasn't pulled a shroom all race. Maybe he could red someone.
Right here. You might try and connect with Chi on this straight though. Maybe that can really try and swing something. But Sawyer's coming up as well.
Sword takes into first. Can he red him?
He's gonna break his
There's the blue right away.
Coming up with Sawyer. That's gonna take out Sawyer.
He gets blue on the boost though. Nota needs a clutch snipe here. He needs to clutch up.
But
where'd that guy go? Where did she just go?
That brings him at first. He's gonna
get shock redded.
And then Swampy's dodging up.
Swampy takes over first place, and Evan is gonna take it.
And I think that's it for AC.
Oh my god, that race was bonkers. That was probably the most intense race we've seen the whole time. These teams were trying so hard to get every spot they could, but MN just had shock in the end, and you know, with all that chaos happening in the front, Swampy just held his dodge pretty much the whole race and just cleanly passed everyone at the end. So MN, despite not taking a game off AC during the season, they come out on top in the finals where it all counts, and they're going to be crowned the Division 2 champions.
And that is MN, baby. Congratulations to Manganese. What an amazing display, honestly. A true comeback story.
Ending it in a top 3. Swampy went huge that GP. He definitely turned it up when his team needed him to. Wow, that was a journey that these teams just took us on.
Just unbelievable, honestly. Just completely crazy to see the true underdog story really come out. You know, during the season, Manganese dropped 0-2 against Ascension just to meet them again back in finals, just to really take them 3 matches deep and go 2-1 to really seal the deal in a lap 3 like that, to really just end it all. So
yeah, who could have predicted how that match was going to go? MN squeak it out with a 30-point lead, but that was a nail biter. That was about as close as the match could have been. We saw definitely a lot of nerves kicking in, but in the end, it was MN that came out on top. Gotta take a bit of a breather after that.
A real nail biter. I mean, hit the showers, boys. You're done sweating.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that was nuts. I've been in a couple D2 final situations, and nothing was ever close to that level of intensity. So
literally on the edge of my seat. Like I don't know how much more that could get. So honestly, hats off to both teams though for an amazing set to watch.
Yeah, leaving it all out on the racetrack, exactly what we want to see. We definitely saw them dig deep into their vault of strats and track picks, and you know, we saw some subs on the side of AC that didn't seem to work out too well for them. I have to imagine that they expected to win, especially after that first match, but MN just did not give up whatsoever.
Definitely, especially going down the first match by what was like a 50-60 point deficit, completely getting. They definitely let AC get the better of them match 1, but match 2 they really just pummeled out those small races and were really able to get that tie match, just to take them again in match 3 in a completely epic fashion too.
Yeah, we saw a lot of mistakes both ways, especially on our POVs, and I mean, in the end, Manganese just kept it together a little bit more. They were a little bit more collected. They executed a little bit better towards the end there, and that's what it took to win that. And I just,
wow, I can't believe I saw that with my own 2 eyes. That was something.
Yeah, I literally could not have written up a better story than that. That was nuts. Really proud of MN for sticking through it, you know, keeping their heads
really.
up.
The pure tenacity. Honestly, they just completely just trucked through it, and honestly, they did a great job.
And that's that. Manganese are your champions of Division 2 of CTL. Join us in the next video as Torp and Zexous will be interviewing Manganese on their thoughts on the match. Like and subscribe for more competitive Mario Kart Wii content. Stay golden, everybody.